Ford gets ready for the 75th anniversary of producing vehicles for law enforcement needs. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. Joining us from Ford is Heritage Brand Manager Ted Ryan. Hi, Ted.
Morning, Fred. Thanks for having me on this morning.
Well, great to see you once again. And Ford is marking this big anniversary with the latest vehicle, the 2025 Ford Expedition SSV. Let's start out with a bit of history, though, Ted, about this market that Ford recognized early on.
It's 75 years. In 1950, Ford became one of the first OEMs to manufacture a car, and cars plural, specifically for the police departments across America. We manufactured cruisers and interceptors and paddy wagons, and it was a concerted effort. This was coming right after World War II, when the whiz kids had totally shaken up the company, and we had gone from wartime production to civilian. But we did research with police departments to understand what they wanted and began to produce vehicles specifically for their needs.
And before that, they were buying pretty much from the showroom kind of thing. Is that
From the showroom, and it actually goes all the way back to the teens with the Model T, where police departments would take Model Ts and customize them on their own. And the difference was Ford began to do it. There's a hilarious article from 1915 with the Oakland, California police, where they bought 12 Model Ts that replaced their horse fleet. So they replaced their horses with the Ts, just the way that you always hear it in history. But after 1950, it was a specific concerted effort to build in features that the police were looking for, like ballistic doors that would handle gunshots and additional thickness safety glass and some of the different elements that we begin to recognize in today's police vehicles.
what are some of the more iconic vehicles that have been built for law enforcement over the years?
Well, the famous Crown Vic has got to be the ultimate police car. If you, it's hard to go back and watch a TV show from the 70s or 80s that doesn't have a Crown Vic in it, chasing up and down the streets. And they became so synonymous with the police that the market for Crown Vics outside of police departments actually began to diminish. And then today's Explorers, to the point that you look up in the rearview mirror and you see an Explorer and you wonder if it's a cop or not, because there's so many of them are police vehicles. Probably my favorite, though, Fred, is a souped up Mustang with a 5-liter engine that the California Highway Patrol bought in the mid 80s. We actually did a ad that said, "This car chases Porsches for a living." And because of the number of sports cars that were entering the California market, the police wanted something that could chase them down. So, yeah, the police always had to be able to go a little bit faster than the bad guys.
What are some of the other ways in which these vehicles are different? There's a
They're
lot, I
customized.
guess.
Yeah, there's a lot. So the Explorer is built in Chicago, and there's actually a upfitting company outside of Chicago. So the Explorers go directly from the line to there, where they're given the radar, they're given the additional features. You can get the tow bars on the front, the light chasing units. And a whole lot of technology is baked into them. With the brand new Expedition being built in Kentucky these days, it's got the 3 rows and it's got the increased towing capacity. So it's perfect for the police to be able to get stuff to an area. So that was the interesting thing to me when I really began to dive into this, is we've actually scanned about 200 or so police brochures from 1950 until today, and they're all available in the Ford Heritage Vault. So if you go to fordheritagevault.com and you type in police, you'll get back hundreds of brochures, and you'll see how we were customizing the vehicle specifically for the police department. The same way that if you want your Mustang and you want to know all those different features, well, the police want to know what features that we can put into the cars for them at the same time.
At the same time, we focused on police here, but fire departments
Fire
and
departments,
other first responders too have been a big market for you.
correct. And in the 60s, there was this great brochure, I think 62, that had a Country Squire station wagon that could be customized to be able to carry medical equipment and stretchers. So, and it talks about the living room size back of the station wagon that will hold a stretcher. So and it's not an ambulance. It's, a car that's being customized for first responders. And Ford has been at the forefront doing it for decades now. Ford provides the majority of police vehicles to the major 50 markets across America right now. And that just goes to this long tradition of building cars. In 1956, another example, we began to offer additional safety features for police vehicles that later got incorporated into our entire fleet. Padded steering wheels, recessed dashboards, breakaway steer gear shifts and things like that. And then Ford was the first to have a safety rated vehicle for rear crash that was offered to the police. And then the same way that the GT program informed the racing, which then informed the performance vehicles in Ford's fleet, these safety features we did for the police then began to incorporate their way into the rest of the fleet at the same time.
I'm thinking you must have sold a lot of these to Hollywood too.
We did. My favorite that I grew up watching, and some of your listeners may remember Starsky and Hutch with the Gran Torino, and then Dexter. We actually did a display recently at headquarters, and we had a number of these movie police vehicles that we had on display, and it part of the reason why the Crown Vic got so incorporated into the American psyche was you saw it on every police show that was in the market. And Chips, you see the Mustangs out there. So these movie police vehicles are part of pop culture now as well.
And they go through quite a few, I guess, when for judging from how many get blown up or banged up or whatever.
They do. One of the ones I had on display was the Crown Vic that was used in Diamonds Are Forever that chased the Mach 1. Everybody remembers James Bond going sideways in the Mach 1, the Mustang Mach 1. But there was a police Crown Vic that was chasing him. So they actually sell sort of a beat up version of that Crown Vic that's branded with James Bond. So it really is a fun collection and fun topic that not too many people really think about too often.
And then you're celebrating this anniversary with this 2025 Expedition SSV. Tell us about some of the key features here.
It's an amazing vehicle, and the towing capacity, the third row capacity, and then the software that Ford has worked with the police to bake into the car itself. So the one of the things that you probably don't think about, but Ford makes these different classifications of the vehicles. You've got the Interceptors, you've got the Cruisers, and this bigger Expedition gives us the capacity to be able to offer seating for up to seven, potentially even up to nine, towing capacity of 9,600 pounds. So it is a vehicle that the police departments can use to get people and get to supplies wherever they're needed. You wouldn't think of it as a police chaser because it's not, but it's a functional police vehicle, and it's the brand new 2025 Expedition, which, by the way, that same theory is out there. It's open for the public to order the regular version of the Expedition, and we took the Expedition and customized it for the police.
It's terrific. And it'll be a while, I guess, before that makes it into the Heritage Vault sign.
It will usually, it's got to be older than 7 years old before we put it in the vault. But if you want an hour to kill, go into the vault and type in the word police, and you'll see these amazing brochures. And what I love, Fred, is the language that we use to describe it. And we talk about the increased horsepower because just like those Mustangs had to be able to chase down the Porsches, you always have to be able to have a car that goes a little bit faster than the bad guys. And so it'll talk about the changes of the engines over the years and the horsepower and you can read about the difference between an Interceptor and a Cruiser, which I had never really thought about until I began to read about them.
Very cool. Again, it's fordheritagevault.com.
.com. Yes.
Just terrific. Ted Ryan, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thanks, Fred. Great topic and a fun one. Thanks for having me on.